Hey y'all, welcome back to the Big Bear Homestead. And today we're here in the kitchen. We're gonna do something really fun, but also really useful. With our lifestyle, things are always crazy, especially in the morning because we have chores, I have to go to work. So a lot of times breakfast kind of falls to the wayside. But you really don't want that to happen. You want to have something that'll kind of give you some energy to get you going. Because I'm on the road a lot too, this is also a good snack to have, kind of a grab and go. So we're going to make homemade oatmeal breakfast bars. So what are you going to need to make these breakfast bars? First thing you're going to need is 2 cups of oats. Okay, you're also going to need a 1/2 cup of sugar. Now, when you're making all of these breakfast bars, make sure that you put all of the dry ingredients in one bowl, and then we're going to put all of the wet ingredients in another bowl. So you're going to need a 1/2 cup of sugar. And then you're going to need 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. Let me get that real quick. Okay, 1.5 teaspoons of baking powder. That would be a 1/2, Robyn. 1.5 baking powder. You're going to need a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. And then you're going to need cinnamon to kind of give it a little bit of flavor. And that is going to be a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Now, you can also add, some people will add nutmeg. You can do that too, especially if you decide to add something like pumpkin or something like that to give it a little bit of a fall flavor. You can add nutmeg. Cinnamon is fine too, either way. Okay, so that's all of the dry ingredients. That's what it looks like before. We're gonna go ahead and mix it up real good. And then we're going to start mixing up the wet ingredients. Now, it's important to do these separately because you wanna mix all of these flavors in before we start adding the liquid. Now, for the wet ingredients, you're going to want to start with 2 eggs. I got 2 farm fresh eggs here. Okay. And then we're going to add our 1/2 cup of milk. Okay. And then we have our teaspoon of vanilla extract. Okay, and then we're going to add applesauce, and applesauce is kind of like the binder that helps keep this all together. That's part of the reason why we wanted to make sure that we put all of the wet ingredients in a separate bowl so that you can mix all of this wet stuff together so that when we add it to the oats that it all kind of melts, gets together. All right, so with the applesauce, you only need 1/4 cup, okay? So let's put in 1/4 cup of that. Okay. All right, now. All right, now here's where the fun part comes. You can add kind of fruit, nuts, chocolate chips, butterscotch, peanut butter, whatever you want to these. So I'm going to be making these all day, so I'm going to have fun with these and do a couple of different variations. But what you can do, we have a whole bin of stuff that we use. So you can do dried cranberries, you can do dried blueberries. We've got semi-sweet chocolate chips. We've got butterscotch. And then for nuts, we like here at this household, we love sliced almonds, and then we also have chopped walnuts. So these are the things that we're going to add. I think this first one, I'm probably going to try and be a little healthy with it. I think we're going to go with some cranberries and some walnuts. So that's going to be the first one that we do. So all you're going to do is we're going to mix up all of the wet ingredients, make sure that they're all mixed together. Don't have a whisk. I need a whisk. I'll put that on my Christmas list for this year. I had one, but it broke. If anybody has a suggestion on a whisk that doesn't just fall apart, I would love to hear about that, because every whisk that I ever buy seems to fall apart. All right, so now that this is all together here, we're going to go ahead and pour all that into the dry ingredients. Now, you're going to have to let this sit for about 20 minutes. And while this 20 minutes is going on, go ahead and preheat your oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Okay? And then all you're going to do is we'll line a baking sheet with parchment paper and put it in the oven to bake. So now that I've got that all stirred up really good, I'm going to add my additional things. Like I said, I think I'm going to do walnuts and cranberries. Nope, that's blueberries. Walnuts and cranberries. And for these add-ons, you only want about 1/4 of a cup of each ingredient. So out of your whole mixture, you want 1/2 cup of add-ons, okay? So just remember that. As long as you remember you only need 1/2 cup total, you'll be good to go. And actually, I'm going to use this 1/2 cup here. All right, so we're going to do 1/2 of it cranberries, and we'll do the other 1/2 of these walnuts. Pray that I don't make a mess in this bag. Okay, 1/2 cup of walnuts. Okay. And then we're just going to pour that all in there. And we'll mix all that together. Man, it already looks good. Alright, so we're going to let this sit 20 minutes and we'll be back to put them in the oven. Okay, so it's been 20 minutes. Our mixture has had a chance to soak. So all the flavors are nice in there. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is we're going to line a baking dish, an 8x8 square baking dish, with some parchment paper. Now, I used to not be a firm believer in parchment paper, but I'm going to tell you, after having to clean some baked on gunk on dishes, I'm a firm believer in the parchment paper. So it doesn't have to be perfect. As you put the weight in on this, it'll kind of, do its own thing. So all we're going to do is we're going to pour that mixture. Let's see if I can do it so you guys can see it better. I'm going to pour that mixture in there, and then I'll just pat it down in just a second. I wish y'all could smell this. It smells amazing. That cinnamon and the the vanilla extract. Can really smell that. And now our oven has come up to heat, so we'll be able to just put this straight into the oven. And so basically all you do is just kind of pat it down so that it's even. Now, with this 8x8 square, your bars are going to be super, super thick, okay? If you want to make them smaller, you can do like a 13x9 or a 15x10 pan, and you can make these like super, super thin. Now, if you're going to do that, you need to change your cooking time, because with these big bars here, you're going to cook these for like 30 to 35 minutes. And what you're going to do is pay attention to the edges. As soon as the edges start to look a little brown on the edge, that's when you kind of know that they're done. You can take a fork, stab it in there, make sure that it's cooked through, and then that's pretty much it. So we're going to go ahead, put this in our oven, 350, and we'll set our timer for 35 minutes. Okay, 35 minutes is come and gone. Our timer's gone off. So let's check and see what we've got in the oven. So, first thing you want to do is kind of check and see if it pulls away at the edges. This is almost ready. It needs I would say a few more minutes in the oven. Okay, much better. Except for this one corner. That's one thing. Be very careful when you're putting your parchment paper in. You're gonna have little creases, and so there's gonna be some that kind of sticks to the creases. So make sure you work away at those edges so that it'll come out. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna take it out of the pan, and I'm gonna put it on the cooling rack just like that. And we're just going to let that sit for about 5 minutes. And then we will go ahead and cut it into squares. All right, that's it. So if you liked this baking video, definitely check out our pumpkin roll video. It's my own secret recipe that Jason absolutely loves. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thank you for stopping by the Big Bear Homestead.
Thanks, Mom.
God bless, and have a nice day.